Hello all old Halo fans, hello all new Halo fans, and hello all returning Halo fans. It's been a great past few weeks for Halo with Infinite releasing early and all of the competitive structure that has been released alongside that. For the most part, Halo Infinite's been received really well. The competitive scene has kicked off with a bang, and 343 have delivered on a lot of their promises. At the top of this list of promises, from my opinion, is the international assistance that they've offered to countries like Australia and New Zealand, the Mexico community or LATAM community, as well as the Europeans, and the international opportunities they're going to be given, as well as the roadmap that they've announced for the next 1 year, which is a massive thing to have at our disposal so early on in the game. So anyway, that's not the intention of this video. The intention of this video is to give you guys a breakdown of the recent Australia and New Zealand HCS Open Series. So this was the first tournament that was held in Australia and New Zealand for their region, ANZ, if you're unfamiliar with them. Every week, we're pretty much the first guys to, I guess, have our tournament because we're ahead of everyone else in the world. So yeah, this week was a really big show out for us. We had 37 teams, which is it's the biggest tournament I've been a part of. I only started in H5. So to see 37 teams in this first tournament was a really big thing for me, especially when the community is just going to grow as Infinite continues to expand its pool of influence. Primarily, I know there was 7 COD teams, so COD players in the OCE community that swapped over from competitive COD to play in this tournament. I know that there's some Overwatch players that have swapped over. There's obviously been an influx of keyboard and mouse players. There's a couple keyboard and mouse only teams, and all of this has been really great to see. So we peaked, our viewership peaked on our Sunday tournament at 3,000 viewers, which was the biggest that I've seen. Obviously nothing in comparison to the US and the NA competition, which peaked at 70,000, but hey, that just means we have 60,000 people extra to bring along for the ride. We gotta somehow make our Halo enjoyable enough to get those 67,000 people out of bed at some ridiculous time in the morning before they compete on Sunday too. So anyway, moving forward, what we're going to be doing is I'll give you a breakdown of pretty much the top 8 teams, just a brief overview of these top 8 teams and who's in them. So obviously this is the first week, everyone's still learning the game and there's a lot of room for movement. There will definitely be team changes inside of this top 8, and who knows what else. There's obviously going to be people that grind, new talent, all kinds of things are going to happen. So this top 8 is going to swap over time, obviously. Just, yeah, have a look what's on screen. A couple notable names. You have teams like Dire Wolves, which consists of Boards, Vamp, Zirkle, and Dino. They've been top competitors for a while now. BBR coming back is Ads, Battles, Evil, and Dante. NutriBullet are what everyone is perceiving to be the top dogs in ANZ at the moment, and they did back it up. So that's Barcode, Seduce, Prades, and Madzi, and they're closely followed by our current second in the region, Divine Mind, which currently consists of Berserk, Rated, Slays, and Pips. So you can see everyone else that's there. Get familiar with them. You're going to be seeing a lot of these guys from week to week. Like I said, there will be some shifts, but a lot of these guys are our top players, and that is why they have made it on the first week. It's not a coincidence. They know the fundamentals of Halo, and they've obviously proven and implemented it here. So moving on to our upper bracket. So in our upper bracket, it's a little bit confusing looking at these pictures. Upper bracket, quarters 1, 2, 3, 4. So this was something like winners bracket round 4. You can see Divine Mind taking on Dire Wolves, Nuke and Pave taking on Carbon, NutriBullet taking on Serious Gamers, and BBR taking on Deathruptor Fans. So this, yeah, the quarters isn't actually officially the top 8. I think the top 10 make it through to quarterfinals, but I still wanted to highlight the first round of this quarterfinals, which was between Divine Mind and Dire Wolves, because I think that Divine Mind have cemented themselves right now as a second place team, and Dire Wolves didn't have the tournament that I think they wanted to have, but nonetheless they're a really good team, and I think this coming week they're going to show their true colors. This was a best of 3, as everything in this tournament was a best of 3 except the grand finals. Winners bracket and losers bracket, both best of 3. Winners finals also best of 3. Losers finals was a best of 3, and the grand finals was a best of 5 with the potential for a bracket reset. Therefore giving 10 games total. So these guys were battling out on Aquarius Flag, Recharge Slayer, and if they needed to, Streets Oddball. So Into the first game, that being Aquarius Flag. Divine Mind were the first on the board within the first 2 minutes, and watching it from an outside point of view, you might get the idea that these guys are just going to come and dominate this game. However, that's not really the way that it played out. So Dire Wolves actually capped the next 2 flags with some good teamwork and a couple 4 deads in there, which helped them, putting Divine Mind down 3-1, and it pretty much stayed like this for a solid portion of the game. And actually, with a minute 30 to go, Divine Mind are down 2-1 and managed to cap 2 flags in a minute 30. That's mostly, from my point of view, that comes down to Slays. Slays had some big plays around the flags and a lot of clutch multi-kills. So Divine Mind actually tie the game up 3-3 with something like 5 seconds left. And then they come out and win the game in overtime at the end. So that was clutch plays out of them to win that. And yeah, nothing but praise for Slays in that game. So he finished 30 and 19, and obviously was a very big part of that. Then Divine Mind go up 1-0, take it to Recharge Slayer game 2, which was another close game, but that finished 50-41 in Divine Mind's favour, sending Divine Mind to the semis to play against Carbon, and Dire Wolves to the lower bracket to play against Nuke and Pave. The rest of these quarterfinals, as you can see, they appeared one-sided as well. There was no one that pushed anyone to a map 3. Carbon 2-0ing Nuke and Pave. I think that was something that people were surprised by. NutriBullet 2-0ing Serious Gamers, not surprising whatsoever. And BBR 2-0ing Deathruptor Fans. Although I will put as a mention here, Deathruptor Fans are definitely not a team to be taken lightly, I don't think. I think that they are going to be disappointed with this 2-0 loss against BBR. I know that they've scrimmed them since then and they've done a lot better. So I think that this Deathruptor Fans is a team that you're going to be on the lookout for over the coming weeks to see if they can push their way into the top 8. So moving forward, we'll have a look at the upper bracket semis, also known as winners round 5. And we're going to look at NutriBullet versus BBR. So that's the Juice, Barcode, Prades, and Madzi taking on Ads, Brattles, Evil, and Dante. So this was best of 3 with Live Fire Strongholds being your first game, Street Slayer being your second, and Bizarre Flag being the third if needed. Live Fire Strongholds really was not much of a competition for the NutriBullet boys. They came out hot and they came out ready to play. Wiped the floor with him, 250-79. Unfortunately, I think this was largely in part due to Ads' poor performance. I don't know. It was the first game of the day. It's a Sunday. He might have been out on the beers the night before, but he actually finished this first game 3-22. So he obviously was getting bullied on the map. Could have just been unlucky. He might have found Barcode 22 times straight, and I think winning 3 out of 22 fights against Barcode's not too bad. So the rest of his team went neutral, and unfortunately he just got the short end of the stick in that game, and it really hurt them. So yeah, they lost that first game 250-79. And NutriBullet really left probably feeling quite confident. So going into game 2, there was Street Slayer. Street Slayer, not Streets Recharge. The game was relatively even, actually. So surprisingly, with Ads off to his bad start in the game before he turned it around, and managed to keep it close. This whole game was pretty close. So most of the game, NutriBullet had a 1 to 2 kill buffer until early on, and then BBR actually do a really good job, and this is what they're good at. They're not bad individual players, but they're not on that top echelon along with Barcode and Seduce. But what they can do is they can play as a team really well, and they actually get 3 and 4 dead, and then they just keep using that momentum to continually stay on the front foot and win the trades 2 for 1 and establish a couple kill lead. Unfortunately, though, they could not keep their foot on the gas long enough, and NutriBullet just end up through a mixture of teamwork and individual skill forcing their way back into this game, and they managed to win it. I think it was 50-41 in the end or something along those lines. So NutriBullet win that 2-0 and move on into the next round. So going to the lower bracket now, I'm looking at losers bracket round 9. We're going to look at Nuke and Pave versus Idolize. This is playing for 3rd or 4th. Loser's going to take home 4th, and winner is going to take home 3rd. Nuke and Pave in this recharge strongholds, which is their first game, get off to a flying start, due largely to some big plays and a combination of kills between Juckor and Lunchy, who you can see were working really well together and really tightly knit to get a lot of, kills without trades, and that really helped them. Nuke and Pave managed to secure a triple cap really early on in the game, and it really puts Idolize on the back foot early on, going down 129 to 17, and they really couldn't manage to get kills and map control. They were constantly being rotated on. Largely as well due to Junior and his performance. He played his life super well in a lot of instances in this game, laid down a heap of damage and got a lot of cleanup kills. His teammates are obviously moving around him really well and allowing him to do what he does best. And Nuke and Pave really put him in the floor. 215 to 35 was the score before Idolize could really get any kind of control, and it just proved too big. So they dug deep and had a 110 to 10 point swing, which put it at 250 to 147 for the final score. But it really just too big too early. That's really the moral of that story. Going into Bizarre Slayer, that was a much closer ordeal, but Idolize managed to snap the win 50 to 44, despite Nap getting 3 kills at the 44 to 46 mark, which, if you watch the pros play, if they get 3 kills, pretty much clears the map, and then they can set up and get some kind of a spawn trap. And unfortunately, the Nuke and Pave boys just didn't have that kind of chemistry and coordination, being a fill team, to capitalize on that opportunity they got, and Idolize going to win that 50 to 44, making us go to, I believe, our only game 3 in the top 8 in this whole competition. Pretty much one of the only game 3s that happened, I think, if you skim through the bracket as well. So with the score tied 1-1, and this series being the only one in the top 8 to go to best of 3, we had Aquarius Flag on the books, which was full of drama. So you guys would know, if you've been keeping up with the rule set, there is a rule where if you disconnect or lag out in the first 10 seconds of a game, it's a reset and there's no penalties. And that's, this game's in beta, and it kind of needs to be thought about a bit further from a competitive point of view, because people are lagging out all the time. Their PCs are crashing mostly. There hasn't been that many issues on Xbox, but PC is a real issue. And there's a lot of people that lag out halfway through the game, and it's Halo, so you can't win a 3v4. Like, it's just not going to happen, especially in the top 8 in the region. Maybe if you're the best team and you're versing one of the lower 50 teams or something, it might be possible, but it's still going to be very difficult. So I think this rule needs to be looked at and reworked. Let me know what you guys think. Basically, what happened here, this is the third game in a best of 3. Winner moves on to third. Third place is important because we're playing for HCS points and the potential to get free flights to Raleigh in America in December. So what happened was, I think it was Ninjestics or someone had issues at the start of the game, and Nuke and Pave ended the game for them to sort out their issues. Then they restart the game, and someone lags out of the game. I think Juckor lags out of the game on the side of Nuke and Pave while it's still 0-0, but Idolize are running a flag that is looking like it has a good potential of being capped. That being said, we're still literally in the first less than 2 minutes of the game. And without thinking about it, Junior just, or someone, whoever the lobby leader was, just ends the game. Now, Idolize at this point, they were intending on attempting to put forth the disqualification rule and take the win to move on to top 3. You can see, it's in their own best interest to do it, and you can't hate them for it. But I do side on the side of Mantis, who was in the stream saying that's so unsportsmanlike, and I do tend to agree. That is very unsportsmanlike, and it's not something that I think we should be trying to do. We should be trying to win through, competitive integrity and showing that we're the better team. So that drama got resolved by the admins, thankfully, and then Nuke and Pave end up going on to win 5-1. So they were clearly the better team. It was a good thing that they didn't get forfeited for that exact reason. I think Juckor and Lunchy were a big reason for this win, so they both went +9 on that map, so props to them. Mantis went +4, and Junior, surprisingly, -6, so he didn't have the best series. On the other side of things, for Idolize, Wrath City was the only one posting a neutral KD with 20 kills and 20 deaths, while the others all went negative. They just really couldn't keep up with the slaying pressure. Thanks for joining us, Junior. So I just wanted to get an interview with you because your team, Nuke and Pave, coming into this was kind of, I think, a wild card in this competition. It was obviously a pickup team. I do want to pick your brains about what happened there. Obviously, you were announced on Divine Mind alongside Berserk, Slays, and Pips, with Rated being your your substitute. So what kind of happened? How come Rated played for you on the weekend?
Oh, it's a bit of a tricky one. It's a bit annoying, really, but yeah, it's just my own commitments in my own life at the moment. Kind of stopped me from playing that weekday event on the third weekend. So like you've got the two online qualifiers, and then you've got the third online qualifier, which is I guess the main one. So like didn't really explain that very well, but the first two are more based on pro points, and the third one you get a spot to rally if you're number one. So in that tournament, I can't play because it's during the week, and obviously I work full time. And in
Okay.
the first two tournaments, I could have played, and that's I can play. It's just the boys kind of think that it's better practice to play with Snakey.
So
So
it's kind of things a bit out of your control by the sounds of it. So it sounds like they're making the best of a bad situation, and it's just unfortunate that that's where you guys have ended up, really.
it is
So
a bit unfortunate. I mean, they
yeah,
released the game a month early, which is freaking awesome. But at the same time, like it would have been nice to know that roadmap like a little bit earlier, because then I could have planned ahead for it a bit better. But my work is really hard because like if there's even one physio off of work, it's like sorry, you can't go. So
definitely,
that's it.
yeah. And I
Yeah,
guess that's the hard thing for us ANZ boys is like we don't get the money and the support, even if you are a top player like yourself, to quit your job and focus on this fully.
yeah.
So, yeah, your
The,
team on the weekend was Mantis, Lunchy, and Juckor. How did that kind of come about?
that team, I've been doing a lot of like Halo 3 a while back with Mantis, and me and Mantis have always joked, wouldn't it be cool to team one day? So we never really kind of hit it off and actually made it work the way we probably thought we could have before Infinite. But yeah, I still, Manus is like my best mate. So just to be able to play on the same team as Manus in an online tournament um, is really cool. And then obviously Lunchy I've played with in previous tournaments very rarely, maybe like once or twice.
Mm.
But me and him go way back. So and he's a really good player. Like he
Yeah,
just needs to
well,
be surrounded by the right players, and he can really thrive. And then there's Jakor, who I kind of probably didn't really know very well until about Halo 3. Just watching him keyboard and mouse me in those like 1v1s in some 1v1 tournament, and yeah, he's really good. I think it was KBM that he was playing on, so
on the weekend
he
as
actually
well.
surprised me. Well, no, I don't think I think he played controller on the weekend, I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure, and yeah, he played really well. He was sending off some big stats, and
definitely.
he's good comms, good attitude, and yeah, he was killing it, so it
I
was fun.
My favorite comes out of him is when I think you beat Reese's team, and I just hear row 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 for
I
about
think that was no, I think that was that him?
yeah,
It was
that
also
was
Lunchy.
definitely
Lunchy was
him.
doing the kind of howling wolf noises,
Yeah.
but
So it sounds like you guys have an idea of where you're heading as a team. You individually this weekend, are you going to be playing with the same players, or are you going to be, have a different team this weekend compared to last? Because I know Jocko said he doesn't intend on competing. I think Mantis has potentially found another team. So any insight into who we could see Divine Mind Junior with this weekend?
this week, Slazy is actually having this tournament off. He'll be back next week for the big one, and it is next week, I think. So yeah, I'm actually going to be playing with Divine Mind, which is
Awesome. How do
awesome for
we?
me.
Yeah,
Hopefully the
definitely.
guys enjoy my company on the team, but yeah, we'll
I
see
hope
how
so.
it goes. I'm pretty keen to compete, so
Yeah, I hope they enjoy it too, mate. You got a couple, what, you got at least a year with them, I assume. So, well, anyway, that's been some good insight that you've given us here. Any last words or comments moving forward?
how's your team going?
Oh, mate, we don't have to talk about my team here. We don't have to talk. We came top 16 on the weekend, last weekend, and hopefully we'll do a bit better this weekend. So, two of my
That's good.
Reaver play was playing on the original Xbox, and Talent didn't have a good Xbox either. So, that's our
Mm,
excuse for now.
yeah,
This week they both got new Xboxes, so no excuses anymore, and we'll just have to see what we can do.
sure. There you go.
All
Well,
right,
thanks for chatting.
all right. Well, thanks for that, Junior, and all the best.
Awesome.
All right, on to our fourth and final game that we covered. So the grand finals, we had NutriBullet taking on Divine Mind. So one thing that I will point out, this NutriBullet team, don't expect them to be called NutriBullet for much longer. the top team in a region is definitely going to get picked up by an org. I think they're deciding who they want to get picked up by and arranging their contracts accordingly at the moment, so I'll let you know when they update their name. Anyway, into the gameplay. NutriBullet actually managed to get the better of Divine Mind in a 2-0 fashion in the winners bracket finals, so that was a bit earlier in the day, I believe, and having a best of 5 opens up, I guess, a bit more wiggle room for Divine Mind, so I would be curious to see their mindset going into this. If you are down 2-0, there is the potential to come back. So the game modes that we had were Aquarius CTF, Bizarre Slayer, Recharge Oddball with the 3 guarantees, and then if required, it was going to be Streets, Strongholds, and Live Fire Slayer. So game 1, this Aquarius flag, there was again another bit of early controversy. So this Aquarius CTF, it seems to be the game mode that everyone lags out on, and one of the Divine Mind boys, I think it was Slays, lags out pretty early on. And this is on broadcast, so broadcast team has to play to the rules, and they just play the game out. You're in Barcode stream and you hear everyone's like, what's going on? Are they going to restart this game? Because I think it was 1-1 at this time, or maybe 0-0. And they play the game out and win, and then at the end, the admin just says, hey, do you want to replay? They say yes, which was really good, I think, from the NutriBullet point of view. They don't want to win from an underhanded, I guess, viewpoint. They want to come out and prove that they're the dominant competition, which tippable, tip my hat to it. So they got the replay. Thankfully, it would have been really disappointing, I think, from a spectator point of view to see them get the forfeit, and they NutriBullet end up winning that 3-1. Now, watching it, I have to give praise to Prades. I have not been in many games with Prades. He's just always managed to be on a top team from what I've seen, but he's surrounded by a bunch of Slayers, and he seems to do the objective really well for this team. His Slays personally weren't massive, but from what I saw, the plays he was making around the flag with really influential flag pulls and flag returns are a really big reason that this team did so well in this game. NutriBullet, like I said, they have an extreme slaying ability, in particular Barcode and his ability to win 1v1s that really swung the favor of the game for them. Especially as you would have seen in this clip with Divine Mind having the flag on their front base, and if they cap that flag, they're tied 2-2, but because of NutriBullet's extreme slaying ability, they actually get countercapped on and go down 3-1, and that's pretty much the end of the game. So that's, I guess, proving why it's important to get your kills in the game. You can't run the flag without having kills, and that might be something that the Divine Mind boys need to work on. Either, you know, bait the flag longer or just be a bit more safer. Going into game 2, we had Bizarre Slayer, and I really do not have a lot to say about it. Bizarre Slayer, we should just call it Barcode's map. This game was unbelievable. I think it's the game that, like, everyone really saw how hardcore Barcode is and how ready he is to be dominant at this game. He got a lot of recognition on the international stage, I think, for his performance here. With HCS tweeting the clip that you're seeing on the stream on this video at the moment. He finished the game 21-11 with 1 triple kill and 6 double kills against the second best team in the region. He literally looked like he was just having a 1-person montage in one game against another highly competitive team, and it was, at that time, it blew my mind. I was in shock. Like, it was unbelievable to see. So hat off to Barcode for putting on such a performance for the ANZ region. So NutriBullet go up 2-0 here, and going into game 3, recharge oddball. I think Divine Mind really just didn't have an answer to the pressure and the way that the NutriBullet guys were playing the game. Obviously, it's early on, and you can excuse that. You can't really review that much in theater. It's a bit glitchy at the moment, and NutriBullet win the first round 100-44, just out teamworking them, and go on to win the second round 100-29. Making them your ANZ HCS Open 1 champions. So congratulations to the NutriBullet boys. They won the entire day without dropping a map, and I'm sure that that's what they're going to want to do moving forward. I think they're a team that's going to be really unsatisfied if they are dropping maps. This is a team that in Halo 5 was pretty dominant, or 3/4 of it, and I believe they went a whole season without dropping maps as well. So they're looking to continue that and take it overseas. So congratulations, Madzi, Seduce, Prades, and Barcode. Keep grinding and do us proud, lads. Finally, the final results of the tournament. First place taken away by NutriBullet. Second place, Divine Mine. Third place, Nuke and Pave. Fourth place, Idolize. 5th/6th goes to BBR and Carbon, and 6-7 goes to Dire Wolves and KBM. So GG's and well played to everyone that was involved. If you want your Twitch broadcast to be featured in these kind of videos, please just leave your Twitch link below in the YouTube and I'll follow it and make sure it's available. Obviously, you'll have to make top 8 to be included. If you are someone from overseas, North America or the EU, and you do want to catch the ANZ finals, then you'll see them at 2 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, which is 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for you Americans, and 4 a.m. UTC or GMT for you Europeans. Until next time, keep putting your best foot forward. Peace out.
Listen up to me now, every word that's out of my mouth. Wake up, it's me. You're gonna follow your dreams, or are you just gonna be another cog in the scene? You feel the hope in this beat, yeah, the hope that you need to proceed and be exactly what you wanted to be.